You open the box. And I... Hi guys, Brain here, and welcome to another wonderful commentary video. Today we're going to be talking about why I think... Ow, I'm going to hit my hand on the desk. Hello everybody, and welcome to this video. Today we're going to be talking about how I think Pinhead is not a perfectly designed killer, and we'll talk about that later, but an incredibly well-designed killer. An incredibly well-designed killer, and kind of a blueprint at which people should at which behavior should make characters from here on out. Before we get started with that, I would urge you to try and do the supporter Rooney for me by, liking with the thumb button down there, and also checking me out on the Twitch Rooney, which is mostly where I hang out. That's mostly where I do things. And also, if you want to talk, we have Discord as well. So you know those things were coming. So let's go ahead and get on with the Vidya. Okay, so what makes Pinhead one of the most well-designed killers in Dead by Daylight? We're gonna have some video footage up here from when I was playing him in the PTB zone, so you can enjoy that in the background as well. Why do I think he's one of the most well-designed killers in Dead by Daylight? Well, let's take another example of a character that I think is one of the most well-designed in Dead by Daylight. Michael Myers. And you may be thinking, what is the correlation at all between Pinhead and Michael Myers? The singular thing that I think ties them together is that they are both designed to act like their lore counterparts, and they are not designed to act in a way that is good in Dead by Daylight. What I mean by that? Let's take a look at Michael Myers. Let's take a look at good old Michael. He spends most of the match, or the beginning of the match, standing silently, standing there menacingly, stalking from afar, IDing his prey, IDing their movements, IDing their behaviors and what they do, just looming in the background, which is what he does in his source material. It's what he does in the movies. In the movies, he doesn't attack in like the first half hour of the movie. He just kind of like hangs out and creepily stalks everybody involved. He's not somebody who just like comes out swinging. He stalks from afar from a really long time before he does literally anything. And that's what's signified by him being stuck in tier 1, not really be able to chase in tier 1. He has to sit and do that stalking that he usually does in his source material before he can be active in Dead by Daylight. Now, you can make arguments against this, that like this is probably his main weakness, and to that I would say, yeah, that's probably his main weakness, but I would argue his bigger weakness is his map pressure. But the cool thing about that is that it really it really captures the essence of Myers. So he goes into tier 2 where he's actually, able to hit and down people, and that's like a point in which any of these movies where he's finally starting to kill, stab, do his thing. But then he explodes out of nowhere. Like right as you think things are starting to gear down, he pops into tier 3 and he's even more furious than he was before. It's really like emblematic of his behavior in the way he acts in his source material. So despite the fact that Mukul is not one of the stronger characters in the game, I would even argue he's bottom 5, even though a lot of people disagree with that. He might be 5 in bottom 5, but he is bottom 5. He really acts and performs in a way that is emblematic of the character. And I think that's what makes him one of the coolest characters in Dead by Daylight, and why he's my favorite in the game. Pinhead follows a very similar archetype with this, where his power really isn't that strong. It doesn't really have a whole lot of bells and whistles that make it good in Dead by Daylight standards. While his power may not be super strong just in terms of like Dead by Daylight gameplay, when you're playing Pinhead, you're actually playing Pinhead, the Cenobite from the Hellraiser movie. Like, he's doing all the things that he does in those films, showing up when the box is open, just the importance of the box in the trial, the chains, his mori is like straight out of the movie. Like, literally everything about this character, without watching the films, gives you a fantastic idea of this character, their motives, their personality, like everything about this character and the way that they play, the way that they are designed, their sound design. Ooh, by the way, I think Pinhead has the best sound design of any character in Dead by Daylight, like period. Sound design is just absolutely perfect. So, like, he literally is from the top to the bottom, Pinhead from Hellraiser. They designed him in a way that didn't try to, like, make changes that would make him like meta or good in Dead by Daylight, and you know, usually that garners some dislike from the Dead by Daylight community. I think that's where they really went wrong with Nemesis, because like Nemesis, like for the most part, is a really cool killer. Like the fact that he spawns with AI zombies that walk around the map and like can do their own thing, that is just like emblematic of the series that he comes from, and it's a little like a little taste. There's a little taste of the game that he comes from, and that's why he's so cool. But like the problem is that his tentacle, which is like his main power, because the zombies just kind of walk around and most of the time they get stuck on stuff, and sometimes they'll block a loop every once in a while, but for the most part they're just kind of hanging out in the background. But like the main power, his tentacle, was kind of like made to be meta. Like it was made in a way that was specifically made to be a counterplay against good survivors. And I think that's a shame, because Nemesis is a very iconic and cool character, but he's been, you know, turned upon by the Dead by Daylight community because they designed his tentacle not in a way that feels like the way he uses it in Resident Evil 3. It's designed in a way that it counters and fits into the meta of Dead by Daylight, and it feels like almost a break, right? It doesn't feel natural. It feels like a very deliberate, like meta decision, and I think that's what breaks the coolness of Nemesis, is that. But they didn't do that with Pinhead at all, and I would say almost to a fault, and that's where he's not a perfectly designed character. I think they focus so much on making him just like his movie counterpart, like a source material, that he kind of underperforms. Like, and he's only been out for like. He hasn't been out that long, okay? So we don't know that for sure, right? There may be some god player out there that'll figure out something really cool with him. But like for the most part, the general consensus is that he's on the lower end of things, because his power is really emblematic of what he does in the films. But like in terms of like how it fits into Dead by Daylight, there's just not a whole lot going on with it that really actually like stops gens. Nothing with map pressure, you know? It's just kind of like he just doesn't do enough in the realm of Dead by Daylight in terms of like the trial and the gameplay, because he's so focused on being like his lower counterpart. So maybe some quality of life changes. Maybe he doesn't, you know, you can't break his own chains. Maybe chains should just be harder to break in general, instead of just, you know, how easy they are now. But like he's literally, that's it. Like I'm serious, that's it. Like just small quality of life changes and he will be a perfectly designed character. And I'm really happy that they went in the design direction that they did with this. And I think if they made more characters to be emblematic of their lore, whether that be an original or IP, be more emblematic of their lore and not so much trying to see how they fit into the game, into the meta of Dead by Daylight, I think they would do a lot better. But yeah, that's going to be my video on why I think Pinhead is a fantastically designed character, and he's not perfect, but he's almost there. So if you like this, make sure you do the like. If you want to stick around a while, consider subbing, friend. I really appreciate that. We're almost at 500, which is really hype. It's really cool, and I'm really excited to keep going on this journey with you. So yeah, if I don't see you here or in the next video or any of the other wonderful places you can find me, I'll see you when I see you, friends. Goodbye.